Let me tell you why this is important. Because a lot of people are chasing access, but they're not prepared for what comes with it.
You signed up for this class, and you got into this class, you're like, what the heck did I sign up for? Yeah, that's access. I got into the room, but then I got into the room when I didn't understand the room. That means that there's a lack of equity. Some other people were in that room because they had access, but then they were not prepared because they didn't have a readiness. They weren't capable. They didn't know. And so we can't expect the same outcome when we have not all been given the same tools.
And that right there, that's not opportunity. That's exposure without preparation. And exposure without preparation will embarrass you or cost you.
I started a company, got certified, and had $1.2 million my 1 year, 2 weeks in business. I had no plan. I just ran out the gate with these projects because I was so excited. You know that feeling that hits you down in your gut? You're like, oh my God. I had one guy and me. I was literally bending corner. White van with a pink hard hat on the side, and everybody in my community knew me. And I was jumping out literally with applications, signing up everybody I knew in my neighborhood. One thing that I did not think about was the prevailing wage rates. The contract said $43.17 plus fringe benefits. I could hit you in your gut when I said it because you know. And I gotta pay 17 guys $63 an hour. How am I gonna do that? No plan. But I was like, okay, I can't pay this person this month because I have to swing my payroll until I get paid at this time. And sometimes I'm not getting paid for 90 days. Okay, sitting in front of you now. And I was running those projects and I had no plan. And guess what, y'all? Woke up one day negative $73,000. It must have been the wings of 10,000 angels that carried me out that bank. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it caught up with me. And then, if you put your bonding up, y'all know about bonding? I lost $5 million in bonding. I lost my bonding and I couldn't perform in the allotted amount of time that I had to perform, and the bonding company pulled my bonding because they needed to finish a project for me.
That wasn't just a story, that was my reality. I had access, I had contracts, I had opportunity, but I didn't have a plan. I didn't fully understand my numbers. I didn't understand what it would actually take to deliver. And I paid for that, not just financially, but mentally, physically, and professionally.
When they went to find a company, they didn't say, can you please be nice and give me a good rate? They said, give me your number. And of course, if I'm coming to save a project, I gotta clean up your mess too. Yeah. So now I need some inconvenience money. None of us are in business to not make money. Right.
So now I move a little different. I don't just look at what I can get, I look at what I can actually sustain. Before I say yes to anything, I ask these questions.
What are the risks? I need to know what are the risks. What happens if I do not get a chance to finish this project? What can happen to me and my company? How long do I have to remedy a situation? So if something comes up, right, where maybe I'm late on the job or my scaffolding doesn't come, what do I have to deliver? When do I have to deliver it? And what if I can't?
What do I have to deliver? How long do I have to deliver that? And what if I can't? Because readiness is not about getting an opportunity. It's about being able to handle it when it comes.
By the age of 24, I had gained $1.2 million in contracts from opening a business that was only 1 year old. 1 year old. But guess what I didn't have? I didn't have the tools. And all of those things together that we were talking about today. We talked about healthcare. We talked about education. We talked about community. We talked about having access. All of those things have one thing in common that fuels them. Capital. We need to build a framework. I call it the readiness framework. Not only am I going to give you access, I want to also prepare you to be able to take on these contracts and be able to get these contracts, perform on these contracts, and get the money in the bank.
Sometimes the lack of readiness shows up in how we treat each other. The tension, the comparison, the lack of support. That's not just personality. That is what we call unhealed pressure. That's what happens when you're trying to build something without doing the internal work first. And so this is what I stand on now. It's not enough to be invited. It's not enough to be seen. It's not enough to have access. You have to be ready. You must be ready. Because opportunity will come. And if you're not ready, you won't be able to keep it.